Here is a complete test paper for IBSL grade 10 students. I am Anil Kumar. Welcome to my YouTube channel and the website Global Math Institute. We are once again sharing a very important test paper. This time it is of IBSL grade 10 students. Questions are provided from one of my students, and I hope its practice will help many others. So let me first thank my students for sharing their test papers. The questions are from the unit based on quadratic equations. I am treating this as test paper 1 since we are going to share many more. Let's first see the questions. Number 1. Here is true or false. The point 0,1 could represent a 0 of a quadratic relation. Question 1b. Find the roots of this equation. C. Given equation 2x squared minus 3x plus 1 equals to 0, calculate the value of discriminant. State the nature of roots. D. Solve for x. So some students have done complex numbers, some have not. So here x belongs to complex numbers. E. State the value of k in equation 16x squared minus 8x plus k equals to 0. That will produce complex roots or two distinct real roots. If z equals to 6 minus I, simplify conjugate z square. So there are 4 questions which I've put in the very first question. Those 4 were complex numbers based. Question number 2. Solve by factoring. Correct? Coefficient is 1 here and 8 there. Question number 2c. Solve by factoring. 2x plus 1 over x equals to 3x. X times x plus 2 minus 5 times x minus 3. So let me write this equal to 0. Solve really means equate the equation to 0. Question number 3. X squared minus x minus 1 equals to 0. Solve and express the answer in simplified radicals. And we have 4x plus 3 equals to x squared. Now x belongs to complex numbers. Now whenever we say complex numbers, just remember this, that I squared is equal to minus 1, right? Or you can say square root of minus 1 is I, right? Okay. Question number 4. Quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0 has roots 5 plus square root 3 over 2 and 5 minus square root 3 over 2. Determine the value of a, b and c. You have to find the equation from the roots. Question number 5. Now this is an application question. An osprey is a fish-eating bird of prey which dives into the water to catch its food. The height of the osprey above the water t seconds after it begins its dive can be approximated by the function h of t equals to 2t squared minus 28t plus 90, where h of t is height in feet. 5a. Calculate the times at which the height is 24 feet above the ground. B. What is the minimum depth of osprey's underwater dive? Now, we have question number 6 here, which is also communication and application question. Determine the values of k so that the relation kx squared plus k minus 3x plus 1 equals to 0 will have two equal real roots. Question number 7. The length of a rectangular plot of land is 7 meters greater than its width. The diagonal is 8 meters greater than the width of the plot of the land. What are the dimensions of the plot of land? And now the last question for you. Marco is placing a photograph behind 12 centimeter by 12 centimeter piece of matting. He positions the photograph so that the matting is twice as wide at the top and bottom as it is at the sides. The visible area of the photograph is 54 centimeters square. What are the dimensions of the photograph? Sketch the diagram. Solve this question. Perfect. So with that, we have shared with you these 8 questions. You can always pause the video, answer them. In case you want to learn from me, you can always send an email on the address given. Most of my students are doing fairly well. They are right on top of their class, getting scholarships and awards. As Akshit.
After attending university. The winner of this year's Certificate of Achievement Schulich Leader Award is Akshi Kandilani.
Great. Our student Akshit gets highest marks and the most prestigious Schulich Leader Award. You can be there. Join our classes and excel. Now, let us see how do we solve these questions one by one. The very first one is interesting. The point 0,1 could represent a 0 of the quadratic relation. Well, 0 really means that wherever the graph crosses the x-axis, right? So if the graph crosses the x-axis, in that case, y value is 0, right? Not the x value. So here, the y value should be 0, right? So y should be equal to 0. So in this case, x is 0. So this statement is false. Clear? Second, find the roots of this equation means both these factors should be 0, right? So 4 minus x equals to 0 means x is equal to 4, one root. The other one, 2x plus 3 equals to 0 means x equals to minus 3 by 2, right? So those are the two roots of this equation. So one is x equals to 4, the other one is minus 3 by 2. Next question here is, given this equation, calculate the value of discriminant. So if the equation is ax squared plus bx plus c, in that case, discriminant is basically b squared minus 4ac, right? So b squared minus 4ac. Here, b is minus 3. So let's do minus 3 squared minus 4 times a is 2 and c is 1. So we have 9 minus 8, which is 1, correct? So 9 minus 8 is 1. So the value of discriminant is 1. If the discriminant is positive, state the nature of roots. We have two distinct roots. So because the discriminant is greater than 0, right? And D is solve for x. Well, x is 3i plus minus square root of minus 49. So you can now write, let me change the ink here. X is equals to 3i plus minus. So minus 7, right? 7i, right? Over 2. So we have two solutions here. So one is 3 plus 7, which is 10i by 2, which is equal to 5i. The other one is minus 4i by 2, or minus 2i, correct? So these are the two solutions for the given equation. Perfect. E. State the value of k in this equation that will produce a complex root. Means discriminant is less than 0. So b square minus 4ac is to be calculated. So we have 8 square. So let's say b square is 8 square minus 4 times a is 16 times k, right? For complex roots, this has to be less than 0. Correct? So 64 minus 6 times 16 times 4 is also 64, right? K less than 0. So you can take 64 common. So let's take 64 common, right? 1 minus k less than 0. So it says, state the value of k in this equation that will produce. So the value of k, since we want to make this as less than 0, so k has to be more than 1. Okay? So the value of k has to be greater than 1. Right? That is what it is. Second is, two distinct roots means it has to be positive, means k has to be less than 1 to have distinct roots. Perfect? Makes sense? 1f. Z is 6 minus I. Calculate conjugate square. Conjugate will be 6 plus I, right? So, and square of this means 6 square, which is 36, minus 12, plus 12, let me write first I, and then we have I square, which is minus 1, and therefore we get 35 plus 12i as our answer, correct? Now let's look into question number 2. Solve by factoring both these equations. So you can do sum and product for this. 4 times 2. So we have x minus 4 times x minus 2, which is 0. So we have x equals to 4 and we have x equals to 2. So absolutely clear, right? The next one, we want product of 8 times 5, which is 40, and we want sum of minus 6. So we are looking for product of two numbers, p and q, as minus 40, right? And we are looking for sum of p plus q as minus 6. So what could be those two numbers? So we can work this out. 10 times 4 works out fine, right? So it is 8x squared minus 10x, bigger number is negative, plus 4x minus 5 equals to 0. Now 2x is common here. So we have 4x minus 5 plus, we already have 4x minus 5 here. So 4x minus 5 being common factor, leaving us with 2x plus 1 equals to 0. And therefore, x equals to 5 by 4 or x equals to minus half is our solution after factoring. Does it make sense to you? Perfect. So we've done this question number 2, A and B part. Now C. So it's a different kind of an equation. To solve it, you should remember x cannot be equal to 0. Let's cross multiply. So we get 2x plus 1 equals to 3x squared. Bringing them together, 0 equals to 3x squared minus 2x plus 1. Always keep the leading coefficient as positive. That is kind of very important, right? Product of 3 sum of minus 2 means we'll split 3 minus 2x as minus 3x plus 1, and clearly we have 3 common with x and we are left with x minus 1. This should have been minus 1, right? I wrote it plus 1. Minus 1, correct. So 3x minus 1, and here we already have x minus 1, and therefore you can say x minus 1 is a common factor with 3x plus 1. So that gives you x equals to 1 and x equals to minus 1 over 3. Correct. Question number 2D, you need to expand and simplify. Well, question number 2D, I have forgotten to write here. This was actually 15, right? So now, let us try to solve this particular question. We get x squared plus 2x minus 5x plus 15 equals to 15. So that is x squared minus 3x, and plus 15 and 15 gives us 0. So x is common here. We get x minus 3 equals to 0. So that leaves us with x equals to 0 and x equals to 3 as solutions. Perfect. So now let's get to question number 3. This time we need to solve and express the answers in simplified radicals. X squared minus x minus 1 equals to 0. It cannot be factored. So we can apply the quadratic formula, which gives us x equals to minus of b, which is 1, plus minus b squared minus 4ac. So that gives you plus 4 over 2a, right? So this is 1 plus minus square root of 5 over 2. So that becomes the solution of this particular question. Next one. 4x plus 3 equals to x squared. We can bring all the terms together. X squared minus 4x minus 3 equals to 0. And now 3 is 3 times 1. But in this case, it is negative 3, right? So it cannot be factored. So we have to use the quadratic formula. So it will be x equals to minus b, which is 4. And then we have plus minus square root of 4 squared, which is 16, minus 4ac, which is 12, because minus 3 times 4. Divide by 2. So we get here 4 plus minus square root of 28 over 2. Now 28 is 7 times 4. So 4 plus minus 2 square root 7 over 2. So we can write this as 2 plus square root 7 plus or minus, right? So that becomes the answer for the given question. So let's move on to question number 4. So in this particular video, this is one of the most difficult questions. Let us see, how do we solve this? The quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0 has the roots 5 plus square root 3 over 2 and 5 minus square root 3 over 2. Determine the value of a, b, and c. Now the beauty of this is something like this. We are saying that x is equals to 5 plus or minus square root of 13 over 2. Now if you compare this with the quadratic formula, which is x equals to minus b plus minus square root of b square minus 4ac, then it will be very easy for you to get the answer. Do you see that? If my equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, that is the solution. So if you compare, then what is a equals to? Denominator is twice a, right? So we get from here that a should be equal to 1, right? and b. Minus b is 5, and therefore b should be minus 5. Correct? So we got two of the values. Now b square minus 4ac is 13. So we can equate b square minus 4ac as equal to 13, right? We know a and b, so b square we need to find c. b square is 5 square, right? So this is minus 5 square minus 4 times c. A is 1, right? Let me write 1 here. C equals to 13. So we can get the value of c here. So 5 square is 25 minus 13 is equals to 4c. And therefore, so from here we get 12 over 4 as the value of c, which is 3. So we get our a, b, c values, right? So a is equal to 1, b equals to minus 5, and c equals to 3. Makes sense? That is how we are going to answer this particular question. So we have answered these questions here. The remaining half of this test paper I'll solve in the next paper. Question number 5, the osprey example, very beautiful example. Question number 6, find the value of k, which will have two equal roots. Question number 7, a rectangular plot. And question number 8, placing a photograph with the frame. So these will be answered in the next set, but I hope you have understood how do we answer the questions in test papers to get good marks. More important here is to get an exposure to type of questions which are expected in the test. I hope you understand and appreciate it. Feel free to write your comments and share your views. If you like and subscribe to my videos, that'll be great. You can also learn from me. As you know, most students are getting a lot of benefit. You can also be on this success path. Once again, thanks to all my students for sharing so much of knowledge. Thank you and have a great day. Bye.